Hello everyone, and welcome to the Darkness, and I am DarknessStone. Before we start, I want to thank you for the overwhelming amount of support on these previous two videos. It was amazing. We now have a bustling Discord server, and the Darkness is starting to look populated for once. So, thank you all, and I hope you enjoy your stay in the Darkness. Now, we move on to the topic of today's video, Antoons. I personally will not go into his previous drama too much, because I was made aware that Pina made a video on it, which I will leave in the description. I would just like to cover my views on the man, as well as his comics, and his recent problems on the internet. First, I must go into the history of Antoons. Antoons, or Anton Severtnik, and I apologize if I mispronounce that wholeheartedly, is a 31-year-old male of Estonian descent. And just in case you don't know where that is, Estonia is on the border of Russian and Litva, and right across a small sea from it is Finland, to the north. He went to college for animation, which I can wholeheartedly respect. He then pursued animation, making his iconic series called Deathbed, which is basically about a popular character's last moments in their lives surrounded by friends. Now, that isn't too bad. It's dark humor, but I can get behind that. Some of it is traced. I can understand his reasoning behind it, even though I don't agree with him. He recently got into a controversy with a person named Puppy-chan, and luckily they managed to make up, saying basically disagreements doesn't mean hate. I'm happy that they managed to put it beside them because I honestly didn't want to edit or cover the animation he made of her avatar shooting period blood at him in a fighting game format. Funnily enough, that's not what got me interested in this situation. It is what he did afterwards that got me to pay attention. See, I was aware of what was happening during the whole puppy drama, but I decided not to take a stance because I could see it possibly being a misunderstanding, and I wanted to wait and see before I put my opinion out, as well as college midterms and the Ponder collab came out at that time. Now, what got me involved was claiming someone was a pedophile, just because they were part of the LGBT community. I am not joking, and I'm not being hyperbolic either. This happened on a video made by a YouTuber called Izzzyzzz, or I will just call Izzy from this point on. They made a video on Antoons where he said, and I quote, "Wasn't it known for a while that Izzy is a map?" And it even stated it in a tweet, stating it as fact. In case some of you are confused, a map is a minor attracted person. Basically a pedophile. Izzy and Antoons started talking in the DMs. Izzy, however, refused to speak on anything in their videos until Antoons explained the map claim. I also agree with Izzy's next tweet, saying how he isn't contacting them because they thought they were a pedophile, but because they were upset about their YouTube video. Look, Antoons, I get being upset about a video made on you, but your priorities are a little bit out of line. He then said that his sources told him that Izzy defended the LGBTQ+ community, which for some reason includes maps. With a single Google search, I was able to find this, an article from Snopes, as well as this being covered by the Daily Caller and Attitude, that strictly states that it is not part of the LGBTQ community, and the community is actively fighting against that, because children are not a sexual attraction. That should be pretty damn obvious. Since Antoons makes so many politically and anti-LGBT driven comics, I thought he would be able to tell the difference, or at least make a fucking Google search to find out what he said was kosher or not. If you're going to make fun of something, at least have a little bit of understanding behind it, or else it's gonna blow up in your face. That's why I did research into your previous escapades before your Twitter got suspended. He then stated that asexuals are highly likely to defend all kinds of sexual orientations, like bestiality and necrophilia. Dude, what the fuck are you on about? Ahem. Honestly, if you think that, you're an intolerant and ignorant person. One or both. In my writing that doesn't even get published, I try to read up and ask people of that demographic what it is like, so I can at least have some perspective. Like, when I tried writing a trans character, I contacted 2 trans people I know, and pitched them my idea for the character and stuff I had planned for them. And they gave me great feedback because I did make some mistakes. Doing research can help you not make these embarrassing mistakes made by ignorance. Please, Anton, show me the data of what you're saying, because this just sounds like sheer ignorance. When asked to show his sources, Antoons says he can't, which is typical of someone who doesn't have an argument or someone who doesn't have that information and is just going basically off ignorance. He specifically says he can't say who his sources are, which makes me think they're his comrades instead of actual articles, but hey, that's just a theory of mine, not concrete fact. He also says, based on statistics, 40% of pedophiles are in the LGBT community, so it's okay to blot them all together, he says. I looked online, and after one frankly scary phone call with the FBI agent that watches my internet connection, and about 3 hours of researching and reading papers, I found nothing to signify that claim from a verified source. I, however, was able to find an article at psychology.edu about child molestation, stating that the stigma of gay or homosexual men, or parts of the LGBT community, of them being more likely to assault people, is false. There is no scientific evidence proving that they are more likely to do it than any other person. So his claim falls flat. I will leave a link to that study in the description. So he can't show you his sources, makes me think he doesn't have any. He can't do research and just goes basically on stereotypes, and has made a bold claim of someone supporting pedophiles just because they are part of the LGBTQ+ community. He, however, did clear this up with a tweet, saying, "Turns out they are not a map, they are just asexual," which didn't really help his case whatsoever. He then moved on for a little bit, claiming he avoids autistic people because they cannot grasp a lot of topics. He says he has tutored and cared for autistic people before. He claims his work is satire and he has many autistic friends and they know when I joke. It just makes me think, I can't be racist. I have black friends. It doesn't mean you can't be racist. It means that you don't act that way in front of them. You put on a mask. So let's say you went up to an autistic person's parents and said this: "I avoid people like your child just because of the way they are. Not because of their personality. Not because of their values. But just because you're autistic." Change the word autistic with black, Asian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, anything. Antoons, you have no self-awareness in the words you say. Now, what really got me on this train after the whole LGBTQ thing was that he falsely copyright claimed Izzzy's video. From the beginning, I have made it quite clear that I'm highly against false strikes. Through a false strike, someone can lose their channel. For Antoons, it is a big thing, nearly having 1 million subscribers. He claimed that Izzzy's video was slander and not criticism, which I cannot see. I've seen the video. I just think his fifis got hurt, and it's not satirical when it happens to you, huh, Anton? However, copyright claiming is not how you handle slander on YouTube. You do a defamation claim. But Antoons stated it was faster when talking about the copyright claim. He either doesn't realize, or he does and he just doesn't care, that the abusing the system like this can make him lose his channel. He also acknowledges the fact that he filed this copyright claim falsely instead of filing a defamation claim. And luckily, with the whole Izzzy situation, I was allowed to get an interview with Izzzy. Here you go. So, who are you and how may people find you?
I'm Izzzy, and people can find me pretty much on like everything, like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, under my name, Izzzyzzz, like IZZZ. Y-Z-Z, which is like kind of, it's like people get tripped up on that all the time, but it's just 3 Z's on both sides.
Okay. I would like to ask, how did you come across Antoons?
I pretty much came across him after seeing Daft Pina tweet about him the first time, when I think it was just after he released like the video on Pill Fighter. That was when Daft Pina made his tweet about it, and that's when I first saw it. And then I started seeing a lot of tweets kind of surrounding that, and a lot of people I followed were tweeting about it. So that's kind of when I first found out about the whole situation.
That's fair. I found out the situation through your tweets, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like weird to think, yeah, because I was pretty much finding it out from like most of the kind of bigger artists and stuff like that, because obviously a lot of artists were coming to Poppy Chan's support, because I think she had been in some drama previously and a lot of like mutuals and stuff were following her, so I kind of found out about it through like mainly Daft Pina, but also after that a lot of artist friends were being like, stop bullying her.
Huh, that's fair. How would you describe the situation you found yourself in, and how did it make you feel?
I think that it was like weird because I totally expected him to come at me, because he like pretty much responds to everything that people say about him and every video that people make on him, so I totally expected that, and I was expecting him to like call me an SJW and a snowflake and whatever, so that was like definitely expected. But I think with the whole like accusations and the video takedowns, that was like a situation that I definitely didn't expect to find myself in, because I think he'd go far, but I definitely didn't think he would go that far. So I think it was kind of a little bit shocking when it was happening, but at this point I've kind of like accepted it and processed it, and just he's kind of insane. So now I know what he's capable of, but at the time it was pretty shocking.
Well, that answers my next question as well. I was going to ask, when he striked you, what was your reaction?
Yeah, well, that was pretty crazy because I heard of prison mate Luke's video getting taken down for defamation, and that happened a little while ago, and I thought my video would be fine because he didn't take down Daft Penis, so I was figuring like, maybe this was just a one-off case, and then like I saw my one was completely taken down, and I was like, oh my god, it was kind of crazy because it was a very baseless kind of like takedown, because it was for like copyright, but there wasn't really any copyrighted material in it. And yeah, as we found out later, it was because defamation claims take longer to be processed, so that's why he went with copyright. But yeah, obviously it's very easy to disprove because legally it's not copyright. So yeah, it was a kind of crazy situation, but thankfully he went with the copyright route because it's much easier to like get the video back up, basically.
Honestly, the way I saw it as possibly a way for him to silence the smaller creators that are spreading words about him.
Yeah, most definitely.
That is just my opinion because, as you said, he didn't take down the Daft Peanut video.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the one thing I was confused about, because he took down me and Luke's video, but he didn't take down Daft Penis or Just Stops. And yeah, from basically what I can figure, it's kind of like you said, I think he was targeting smaller creators because he thought that since we would have kind of less sizable fan bases, it would be less of a kind of drama, like if he did that, and he'd be able to kind of get away with it more. But yeah, thankfully me and Luke both had a lot of support, both from other creators and from people online. So yeah, we were thankful that we had support and people that were kind of helping us get through it. And I had a lot of fellow creators kind of helping me to file a counterclaim and stuff. So yeah, I think he didn't expect us to come back, kind of thing. He just expected to go under the rug, as it were.
You pulled a Rocky on his ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so the next question is, if you had a choice, what would you say should happen now to his channel now that he's falsely strike yours?
It's kind of a difficult question to answer because the whole like situation revolves so heavily around like censorship. Like that's such a massive topic in this whole kind of thing, and like whether it's legitimate criticism or whether it's like censorship of him, because there are a bunch of people who will say, if I want his channel to get taken down, that's like totally censorship. But his YouTube channel, personally, like I don't think he has some kind of offensive stuff on it, but like not enough to get him banned. But I think the thing that should get his channel taken down is just the fact that he's abusing copyright, like abusing kind of the systems, because that's a really harmful thing to so many creators, to kind of use the systems in place to punish them for making content and criticism. So honestly, like before he did that, I would have said, I think his Twitter should get suspended, which it did, because it's got so much hateful stuff on it, but there's not much you can do about his YouTube. But yeah, at this point, since he's kind of done that and being caught doing that, I do think that he should get taken off the platform, because yeah, he's
at least
frankly kind of a danger. Yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting take on it. I honestly think he should get a strike at least, because he was using it falsely.
Yeah, for sure. I think there should be some kind of punitive measure for him, because yeah, but it's kind of up in the air whether YouTube will do anything, because yeah, don't really see justice get served on YouTube that often. So I think maybe expecting his channel to get taken down is like high hopes, like way kind of over what YouTube will actually do, but I'm kind of hoping at least they'll take some measure to dissuade him from abusing that in the future.
We can only hope for the best.
Yeah.
And any last things you would like to say?
Yeah, I guess just like I think people should stand up for like things they believe in, because like I said earlier, a big topic in all of this was kind of free speech and like censorship, and I think I mentioned it in my video, but like when people criticize Antoons, his fans come back and they say like, he's allowed his free speech, but I think like the important thing I've learned from this is, like, you also have free speech. Like, you don't need to just be quiet because like other people have bold opinions. Like, you're allowed to criticize that as well, just as much as they're allowed to say something insane, so I feel like exercising your free speech is important. If there's something kind of bad going on, you want to criticize it, like, don't let people make you feel like you're censoring them by criticizing them with good reason. So that's basically what I got from the whole situation.
That is a very fair point, and I respect you greatly for that. Now, thank you for this interview, Izzy. And I enjoyed having you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was it was really good to talk about it.
Now that the interview is done with, honestly, Anton, from one content creator to another, if your basis of your content is to offend people, you can't let yourself crack like that. You can easily be seen as a fraud. People can now hold this at you. They can hold this at you for getting offended or angry that someone said something about you. It shows your mask, and it shows you have a weak point. I'm gonna ask something out of my own personal curiosity. What's the punchline here? What makes trolling people like the way you do and using shock value like you do funny? If it's a joke, what's the punchline? What makes it funny? One comic panel that you made that actually unnerved me slightly is this one. I want to ask, what's the punchline here? Is it that they killed themselves? Is it because they're transgender? What? Is it because they stabbed a picture of your avatar? What makes this funny to you? I'm gonna say that you're definitely better than Mr. Pumpkinface, one of your friends, because look at this bullshit. The way he draws black people and the way he supports his readers and doing the same just makes me gag. At least you're a little bit more subtle about it. Antoons, you yourself, I think, are a troubled person. You don't seem to understand the environment you're in, let alone everything you do is done through raw ignorance, or to make shock value, and sometimes even both. You are intolerant even though you say you'll be able to call someone by their preferred pronouns in person, and you're just plain dumb when it comes to these sort of ideals. You do zero research on things you say and do, claiming someone is a map based on something surface level about a person, instead of actually looking into something, then stating it with some facts behind it. But I do have something to say to you, Anton. You have potential. You can change. You can make yourself something different than someone who's fueled by arrogance. Your animations are actually really good. I believe you could change for the better. But I also want to ask you, do you know of any animation studio that would hire you under your name with the animated things you have done? Do you think someone would hire you when they saw that you animated a 17-year-old shooting period blood out of her vagina out of spite? Or would they hire you by the way you and your friends look down upon minorities and marginalized groups? I would say, for the sake of your career, as well as the betterment for you as a person, take some time to think about it. That's all I can really ask of you. Try to do better, man. Well, everyone, that's going to be the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Again, please do not harass anyone I mentioned in this video. Now let's head on to the fan art feature, and I have to say, holy hell! You guys have been flooding me with fan art, and I am honestly very flattered. But because of that, I have lost track of who sent what when. I know who sent the art, I just don't know when it was sent. So now my fan art features are completely out of order. If you don't see your fan art in this fan art feature, don't worry, I have all my fan art saved, and eventually they will come out in a video. The first fan art we're going to look at is from Baron Inks on Twitter. As I drift through the stars, makes me look majestic. Thank you so much for this, it's super pretty. Next is Converses by Part-Time Doodler on my fan Discord. And because of this, I have now given Darkness one pair of Converses to mix with his black dress shoes. He now has style. The next one is Evil Laugh by Foxy122 on the fan Discord. And I love the look of this. It looks like I just played the spell Toon World and I came out the other side stronger. Or I maybe become a boss in Cuphead with an evil grin. Up next is Lies from Shelly Nekohara on Tumblr. And my mom's personally loves this piece, saying it makes me look like a superhero. Thank you for making this fan art, as well as this is my new phone background. Up next is Stills by SassyLemonYT on Twitter. They made me a whole freaking sprite sheet! I am so thankful, but I cannot in a good conscience use them without paying you. But thank you so much. And lastly, there is this piece by TaintedVirus1 on Twitter. I love how you drew the expressions. The bottom right is my favorite. I can't wait to see you all again and
enjoy the darkness.